What's up, guys? Welcome back. Damien here. Today we're going to build a shelf in this small opening right here in between my cabinets in my garage. I would like to have a couple shelves going up, and I want it to be the same height as this current cabinet that's here. I only have a couple hours to do this, and I'm going to build it out of pine plywood, and we're going to basically get it all done today. I'll save the painting for another day. Here's my dog Jet. He's going to be watching us today, helping out in the shop. The first thing that I did was I cut down my plywood sheet. Whenever I do this, I like to lay down a piece of foam and cut it on the ground. It's a lot easier, and then I can use my straight edge with the circular saw. I have a Bora clamp, and I also have the Bora attachment for my circular saw, so it just slides along like a track saw. So you see me here, I'm first cutting the two side uprights, and then after that I'll cut the top and bottom plates and shelving. I like to keep my workpiece pretty clean, so you'll see me with the leaf blower blowing the sawdust away frequently. Then I squared up the edges of the shelves on the table saw. Sometimes I cut them about 1/8 to 1/4 inch large, and then I go back to the table saw to square them up. For the smaller cuts, I like to just run them through the table saw. That one I only had to take a couple inches off that last piece. It's a lot easier on the table saw. I just don't run the whole sheet through because it's too hard. Just a little tip, I use these cheap lead pencils from the dollar store. They work way better than a Carpenter pencil. They're very fine point and a lot easier to use. What I'm doing here is I'm just cutting the side pieces down to the right height. I wanted them to match the current cabinets I have now. Now I'm cutting the individual shelf pieces. You notice I don't have a sliding miter saw, so I have to make a cut and then flip it over because my bed on my miter saw is not big enough. Now the fun part, sanding every inch of these things, because the plywood's kind of rough. Even though it's sanded on one side, it's still a little bit rough. Now I'm going to assemble it on the ground. It's a lot easier this way than trying to do it in place. I did not take into account the garage door rail, so I actually end up taking that top piece off to get it to fit in place, and then you'll see how I fixed it here in a minute. As far as joinery, I'm just using pocket hole screws. Um, it's a lot easier. On the spots where you're not going to see it, I actually just screw through that outside because a lot of this shelf's going to be up against the wall. Alright, so let me tell you what's going on. So I couldn't fit the shelf in that place, which I should have thought ahead of time, that this rail from the garage door was going to get in the way. So whenever I went to slide it in, it actually got stuck on that, so I had to take the top cap off. So now I'm going to put it in with pocket hole screws up at the top. No one will ever see it, so I figured I would just use pocket hole screws. So let's do that now. And my neighbor's mowing the grass, so I shut the garage door because it's really loud. Don't mind the mess in the garage. I actually cleaned out that corner where the shelf is going, and all that stuff to the left was shoved in the corner. I'm sure many of you can relate. I'm trying to get organized. You can see above my head I have a shelf going across the entire length of the garage. I plan to put up 2 more of those on each side, so hopefully I can get that done. In West Virginia. I feel like I'm living in Florida. Now I'm drilling in the pocket hole pockets for the shelving. Just prepping it outside, a lot easier, less sawdust. Now I'm just going to screw it in place. All right, so this piece, I'm not sure when I cut it out. I might not have got it on camera, but this is going to be the backboard the French cleats actually nail to. So I'm sanding that down because I want it to look decent. And then I'm going to nail it here in the back, and then I'll attach the French cleats to the outside of that. Now I'm just going to cut down some trim pieces. I trimmed around the piece of plywood, and I trimmed out the front of the plywood pieces instead of using edge banding. I just used pieces of pine that I had. So once I get the trim up, that's going to be it for this video. This is part 1 of 3. The next video I'm going to show you how to put the French cleats up, and in the third video I'll show you the attachments that I added to the French cleats. If you don't want to miss any more videos, please click subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next 2 videos. Thanks.